everything you're told. So I am not going to be going and showing personal receipts because that involves consent. Interestingly enough, Irish, who is an espouser of consent, has violated and obtained information that he's not probably lawfully allowed to have. He has gone in with the assistance of a mole and pulled all of the contents of my Discord server with the intent, apparently, to expose him. I assume, based on his prior course of conduct, that Irish is going to have some kind of Discord live or something on TikTok. I assume that if Irish does follow through with his threat, he'll give it to the police, my bar, my law firm, anybody that he potentially knows, that in an attempt to try and go and harm me. The one thing, though, that I find completely almost hilarious is if anything that he's upset about were true, he might actually have a reason to be upset. However, I'm telling you right now, the claim that I hired a private investigator was a lie for reasons involving a private social group to see who was sharing information outside of that group. Irish can go ahead and get in touch with the police. Irish can go ahead and report it to the bar, and Irish can sue me. Me saying something on Discord is very different than it being true. And when they find out I don't have any invoices from a private investigator, or any emails from a private investigator, or any report from a private investigator, when they find out that all the information that I've shared in making that false claim that I hired a private investigator to the mole was publicly available and readily obtained on anybody that had access to the internet with Google. And as such, Irish overreacted. Me flushing out a mole is not breaking the law. Me saying I have information is not trying to dox him. All it is me handling a private issue. But the thing about it is this is really telling with individuals that have Irish's personality. Normal people, if information is not true, would just say it doesn't apply and leave it at that. They would laugh and they would walk away. However, Irish, being the individual that he is, has just shown a disproportionate response that the information on Reddit apparently readily upsets him. You can draw whatever inference you want from that. Now, I'm going to say this. I do not like Irish. I think that he is a terrible person. Irish is going to threaten to expose me for all of the harm that I have done. I've had exactly 3 counters with Irish. Number 1, I was on a live with Words Had Power. Words Had Power was talking about, some issue that Irish was exposing in court-sealed records. I merely volunteered to go up there and talk about the process of court-sealed records. And in the, I guess you could say, exchange, ended up getting myself in a dispute with Irish about the process of court-sealed records. I didn't care. All right. Words Have Power was not my client. There was nothing in there that I said that was improper, and Irish can take whatever action that he feels is necessary in that exchange. When I saw that he was willing to escalate it to the level that it was drawing enough attention that could potentially expose the victim, I backed it down. The second incident that he is threatening to expose me for is regarding Artemis Wolfe. As you know, Irish spent a disproportionate amount of time on going and having lives on Artemis Wolfe. He contacted me in order to go and address specific information. Irish knows nothing about what I know between Artemis Wolfe and what we discussed. However, in that conversation, he was not going to hear any information from me. He interrupted me a couple of times, as I recall. So basically, I just let him talk and do whatever he was going to do. I can thoroughly say that whatever information that he shared with me about Artemis Wolfe was wrong. And to be completely honest, there was no benefit to talking to him. Why would I stop an individual from proving themselves to be a fool when they were already going to go and do what they were going to do? Now, we are in this instance. All right. So, and as I can see, Irish is in the comment sections. Let me tell you what you've done. You've allowed yourself to be played a fool over somebody who had an infatuation with you and is now feeling obligated to share information. I don't know why that was, but it made everybody uncomfortable in my server. So I gave that information that I hired a private investigator to see if they would go and bring it to you. They did. You can do whatever you want. Me having a personal dispute is not against the law. Me lying that I hired a private investigator to see if that individual was leaking information to you is not in violation of the law. None of the information that I provided apparently is accurate. You weren't doxxed, and all of it was privately available. I fail to see how anything has to do with any type of violation of law, violation of what I do as far as a profession, or how you could even make a complaint. But if you intend on proving yourself a fool, please, by all means, file a report, complain about me. I am asking you to do it. All right. That said, all right, and I'm going to say this very clearly, all right, what you have as far as my server and what you have as far as DMs is not a accurate representation. And if you insist on finding this out, go right ahead. And if you want to make this a public spectacle, go right ahead. But with that being said, you will be proven wrong. So, to the person that betrayed everyone, I just want you to know that I do not know why you felt the need to do this. You made people uncomfortable. You made people question whether or not they could share their experiences with you, which forced me to go and assess whether or not you were trustworthy. I am not going to go and make some grand statement about how we were friends and stuff like that. I thought I was trying to be helpful to you, but apparently that meant nothing. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right, Irish. I'm going to go ahead and let people know what's going on because you're threatening to make it a public spectacle. You even said so as yourself. So why not just come up and just admit it? And I'll just say this too, because I know the kind of person Irish is, and he doesn't respect consent. And because he doesn't respect boundaries, and he's so intent on going and doxing people, that this is just another example of his manipulative behavior. No, Odin, I didn't dox him. How can I dox somebody that I didn't provide information on? But you, go ahead and think whatever you want. I'm not going to sit here and litigate this issue with you, because you're personally just going to go and take whatever narrative that you want. That is what you do. So, I'm going to close with this. I'm not worried about anything. Discovery goes both ways, Irish. There's no such thing as a anonymous lawsuit. If you want to sue me, go right ahead. I don't care. All you'll get is half of my $270,000 worth of student loan debt. I will happily share that with you. If you're intent on just going and exposing me, go right ahead. I will go and do it for you. I don't have a Facebook. My Instagram is on private, and I have a whole total of 17 followers. If you go and look into my background, since you have my information, because unlike you, I actually have the backbone to show my face, you will probably find out that I have a couple of civil court filings, and in 2007, a civil family domestic violence restraining order against me. That's been reported to the bar. I've addressed that. I haven't had an incident since. So you can make whatever references or any inferences that you want about that. I've done the job for you. If it makes me a bad person because I had a lapse in judgment almost 20 years ago, so be it. If you want to go and say that I've stalked or harassed you, I've just responded in my own private server to all of the public drama that you have brought to your door. As a matter of fact, the person that you relied upon insistent on persistently talking about those issues, even though I have DMs asking them to stop. If you are insistent that I have somehow engaged in any proper conduct, me talking to people on my private server is a far cry of showing that I've done harm to you. And I think that's the problem that you don't understand. You don't have harm. Because I don't like something you do doesn't mean that harm occurred. Did you just say that DV was a lapse in judgment? Yes, I did. What I said is that I acted inappropriately. I did not have the adult skills to handle that relationship. I did not have the adult skills to walk away, and as such, I got called out on it. I went to a hearing, I got a restraining order against me, and I used that restraining order as an opportunity to realize that I exhibited problematic behavior. I honored the restraining order. There was never any incident that I violated that restraining order. The restraining order did what it was supposed to do, was stop the contact. And that's exactly what I did. I went and I proceeded to go and get therapy, address it, and learn how to correct my behavior so I did not do it again, and since 2007 have not. Now, if that makes me a problematic person, so be it. If you want to say that it was not a lapse in judgment, then okay, so be it. I'm not going to argue about characterizations of behavior. So, Irish, by all means, do whatever you've got to do. This is the only statement I'm going to make. I'm going to address this head on because you don't have the backbone to even show your face. And the only thing that you've got is the willingness to get a few DMs and portray them in a false light without knowing the whole backstory. Go right ahead. I don't care. Because nobody that likes me likes you, Irish. And I honestly don't think that it's going to go through much at the end of the day. TikTok is not something that I put a lot of stock in. I don't have a platform. I comment and occasionally go on panels. You're not going to stop me from utilizing an app for the purposes of going over makeup tutorials. So have fun, do whatever you need to do, and I'll just sign off with that.